Our story begins with this cute little kitty cat family taking shelter from the rain. Oh, look at them cuddling together. But since this is actually the middle, we're gonna go back a couple hundred years first to get to the actual start. So, way back in the day, the whole world, known from here on as the outside, became so barren and unlivable that all of humanity locked themselves inside these giant shelter cities everywhere to stay safe. It's similar to Fallout, but since they don't say what caused the situation, I'm just gonna assume it's global warming because it's seeming pretty likely lately. But the humans weren't alone and thought to bring their robot friends, named companions, to keep them company in the apocalypse. Inside our particular city, which is called Number 99, we see things divide into 3 levels, each with their own class to go with it. There's the wealthy elite at the top in the control room, the mid-class citizens in Midtown, creative I know, and the rest that got dumped down to the slums along with the entire city's garbage. This system worked out for a little bit, but with the limited resources they went in with, it was only a matter of time before conditions degraded. As power and food started needing to be rationed, new Sentinel bots began patrolling as enforcers for those up in the control room. The biggest problem out of all of them, however, was the rising amount of trash with nowhere to go. But a profitable solution came from the business Nico Corp and their brand new garbage-eating bacteria buddies. This worked as intended and might have solved one of their worries, but the worst was still to come, as soon a horrible plague would break out across the whole city. With nowhere to go and no way to quarantine, every single human got infected, as the place that was meant to be a sanctuary now became their tomb. The only things they left behind were their companions, now free to do as they wished with no one to give them orders, and the bacteria buddies, who now had a sudden lack of new garbage to eat. Determined to survive, they evolved to be able to consume any material, most importantly metal, and become the natural predators of the companions as they transform into something called the Zerks. The remaining companions adapt to their new circumstances as best they can while mimicking human behaviors through language, relationships, food, clothes, and hobbies, with a small group of them known as the Outsiders who are secretly working to reopen the locked city walls to explore the outside. Alright, jump back to today where our little orange stray, who I've decided is named Scruffy, is having another average day with her cat friends. Yes, I did say her, because the cat's voice actor is a girl cat, as it turns out, so don't at me. Things are going as usual when she takes a pretty hard fall all the way down into the depths of City 99. She wanders around the dead city, which is seemingly empty, until her first encounter with a swarm of Zerks reveals why. They chase her through the streets until she manages to climb up to safety and wanders into an open apartment that still has some power. Scruffy fumbles around with the electronics and accidentally is her way into reviving a small drone. He introduces himself as B12 and says he used to help the scientists that worked there before he got uploaded to the network and lost all his memories. Gives you a snazzy new backpack to hold him, and shortly after, when a postcard of the outside reminds him of a promise he made to go there, the two officially team up with their common goals set. They make their way to the slums, and after the companions stop freaking out, they manage to find one of the Outsiders named Momo, who tells them about the other members and sends them on a long and dangerous quest to fix a transmitter. With it, they're able to communicate with another outsider named Zabaltazar, who tells them the group went through the sewers to try to reach the upper levels. Since the sewers are basically the breeding ground of the Zerks, they need some serious firepower first and take a trip to Dead End to meet their next outsider, Doc. He moved out of the slums a while ago to research the Zerks and discovered that they're weak to UV light and upgrades B12 with the defluxor to make him sewer ready. Down there, we end up having to leave Momo behind, and we use our cat powers to squeeze through a gap and get to the heart of the Zerk nest. There, they get overwhelmed, and B12 burns himself out to save Scruffy, who returns the favor by carrying him to safety. The defluxor is fried, but its job is done anyways as they make it out of the sewers and into Ant Village, which is the only place built completely by and for the companions. Shortly after arriving, Scruffy comes across a machine that triggers B12's memory, and he remembers that the scientist he helped was actually him before he got sick from the plague, and that he uploaded his mind into the network, essentially making him the last human alive, at least in City 99. They meet up with Zabaltazar, who says that Clementine, another outsider, went up to Midtown with a plan to reach the outside, and tells us where to find her as B12 recovers from his revelation and we keep it moving. They meet with Clementine, who explains her plan to power up the old subway and ride it all the way to the control room to escape. But the only catch is that she's missing an atomic battery. The only one in town happens to be inside the NicoCorp factory, and after some careful sneaking thanks to this cool guy named Blazer, Scruffy steals one away and heads to the club to turn up in celebration. Scruffy and B12 find Clementine, but shocker, Blazer turns out to be not so cool after all, gets you thrown in jail. Never trust a dope jacket, I swear. The three of them break out of their cells and reunite, surprisingly easily, to be honest. But the prison break gets cut short when Clementine splits up and distracts the Sentinels so you can get to the subway. Oh, she says she'll keep you in her RAM, that's so sweet. Finally at the control room, Scruffy and B12 find everything pristine and clean, with all the companions here just mindless worker bots with zero personality, as opposed to every other robot they've met up to this point. They kind of just let you do your thing, and as you stroll into the final area, the last B12's memories from the days of the plague return. He remembers having to watch his family and everyone around him die as the rulers at the top did nothing to help, making him determined to not just reach the outside, but to find a way to reopen the city doors and give everyone the choice of freedom that he never had. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, his work as a human is probably what inspired the group of outsiders we interact with, since all the companions seem to just copy whatever the humans used to do. But hey, that's just a theory.
A game theory!
B12 starts trying to shut down the computers while Scruffy is finally free to unleash her full cat powers and do what they do best: fuck up electronics. They destroy the system, but in the process, B12 destroys himself. He thought that as probably the last human, his role was to survive and carry on the memories of humanity. But after seeing the progress that the companions have made through their language, art, and culture, and also proof that non-hostile creatures like Scruffy exist, his hope is restored, and he bravely gives his life to help his best friend carry on his dream. As the ceiling retracts for the first time in hundreds of years, the sunlight spilling in vaporizes any Zerks on the surface, solving that little problem. And we all do our best to hold back our tears for the saddest snuggle session in the world. With nothing stopping her now, Scruffy is free at last to make her way back up to her home on the outside, and she takes one last look back at the city before going off to hopefully reunite with her cat family. If you made it this far and thought the video was cool, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, you know how it goes. And if you have any thoughts about Stray or know any other games you want me to cover, tell me all about them down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for choosing to chill with me, and until next time, I will see you when I see you. Peace.